What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to another episode of Cultivated Ignorance. I am Will, the host.
I'm Mike, the favorite host.
This week, we got a dope show lined up for y'all. We are going to be talking about how you women body shame us men. We ain't perfect neither. And y'all got to accept us as we are.
Exactly.
Take me as I am, right, Mike?
Absolutely. As toxic as I am, as problematic as I am, just take me.
Just take me.
Yes.
Somehow, I don't need work.
No.
We're also going to be talking about the motherfucking Earn Your Leisure interview with Steve Harvey. Did you see it, Mike?
I watched it, man, for you. I watched the whole 2 hours and a half of Steve talking.
2 hours, yeah. Tell me what you thought.
Hey, man, we're gonna get to that part. We gotta start with the body shaming stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about the Steve Harvey interview. I guess what we liked about it, what we didn't like.
We didn't dislike anything about it. We will love the whole thing front to back.
We're just gonna dive deep into some of the points that Steve made. But yeah, man. First, as always, we are broke.
What did you point guns at? What did you point guns at him?
Don't make me rob you.
Right.
No, we are hella broke. So don't forget, and don't forget. We got a Patreon.
We do.
Only cost you a hot $5.
Only $5.
Only $5. And that gets you our most exclusive stuff. Not Mike's OnlyFans, but it gets you the exclusive reviews we do. We have a couple of exclusive interviews on there. We have an interview that we did with somebody else on their pod. So yeah, man, it's just really cool shit. It only costs you $5 a month. Yeah, so don't forget patreon.com/cultivated ignorance.
This guy is the worst.
All right. So what you been up to, brother?
Chilling, man. Had a dope therapy session with my therapist yesterday, which was awesome. I talked her ear off. Always love doing that.
Yeah.
Currently working on a lecture that I'm trying to do at Benedict at the beginning of April with some seniors. That's gonna be dope. Trying to radicalize some minds, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get them to, be better than Steve Harvey, you know what I mean? All that good stuff. I see the world differently than the Steve Harvey. And other than that, I'm really excited about that. That's really gonna be dope. But other than that, man, trying to chill, get ready for this retreat that I'm about to do with Alternate Roots, which is a regional arts org I work with, where we're gonna be just fellowshipping and creating dope shit.
Yeah.
Other than that, man, just chilling, man. Enjoy myself. How about you?
I am doing good. I am starting to get the ball back rolling with the starting my own business, particularly flipping houses, getting into real estate investing. Yeah, man. So I'm supposed to be doing some meetings next week with that. So
meeting with
trying to get back into swing things because I got to figure out how to invest all this money I'm making.
All these billions of dollars. You trying to be the next Steve? I get it.
Bro, I am. What you talking about?
I get it, man.
If you're not trying to be Steve, what are you doing out here?
I mean,
a broke boy.
Broke boy.
Broke boy fighting for rights. Shit is that?
What a broke shit is that? Yeah, no, you're right.
The good old fight. I'm not with the shit. But yeah, man, life is good. Life is beautiful. So no complaints here.
Word, man.
What I will complain about is how these women body shame men.
Oh shit! Can I talk about the origin of this subject?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not just women; it's anybody really, but definitely women for sure. So, speaking of Steve Harvey, I was listening to Strawberry Letter on his morning show. If you don't know the Strawberry Letter, you must not have grown up in Columbia specifically, but. Right. But they basically have like somebody from the listener of the show writes in. It's usually some salacious shit, like some kind of something about sex or infidelity or some crazy shit that they want advice on. They don't really want advice. They just want their story to be heard on the radio.
They just want to get their story off.
Basically. So it'd be the most outrageous shit in the world. But some people do call for actual advice. And I think this woman had actual advice. She had a boyfriend that she just met not too long ago. Things were going well. He's like a perfect gentleman. Takes her out on dates and stuff, buys her flowers, takes her on vacations and all kind of stuff. All these wonderful things. Perfect guy on paper. But he told her up front, like he didn't want to have sex right away because he wanted to wait. He wanted to take their time, get to know each other. You know, that stuff can come later on. So at first she was like, cool, that's fine. You know, a couple of months go by. I think like a year and some change go by. Not a whole year. No, not even a whole year. Just some months go by. And she's like, why does nigga won't give me the D? Like, what's going on? And so when they're like hanging out, like she's like grabbing for it, trying to touch on him and stuff. And he's like, girl, stop playing. And he like brushes her hand off and stuff. Like, not taking the bait at all. So she was like, what is going on? And this man has made it clear multiple times. Like, I'm not trying to have sex right now. I'm trying to stay focused or whatever. Just trying to enjoy you, enjoy our company. Like, it's fine. She claimed it was cool. One day she gets fed up. The man's taking a shower. He done closed the door to the bathroom, wanted complete privacy. She's closed the door to the bathroom, taking a shower. She decides to barge in on this man, break in the bathroom, and bust open the shower curtain to look at him, just to see his like genitals and shit, just to see what the fuck was going on. And apparently it turned out that he has a small penis. And so like, oh my God, he has a small, oh, that's the problem. Oh, like, how can he please me and shit? He was just trying to cover all that shit this whole time. And just freaks out, writes into the show, like, what do I do? Like, do I just leave him? Do I just dump him? Like, is there any hope for me? Like, she's just like acting like it was just the world ending shit. And not only does no one address the fact that she straight violated this man by like barging in on the bathroom on him, but like everyone just goes in on like this man having a small dick and how hilarious it is. And I remember what Steve said. Steve said he was trying to show you everything because in a minute he's not about to be a damn thing. Is what he said. I think that's how he phrased it. Like, I'm trying to show you the world because in a moment I ain't gonna be shit. Basically, what he was trying to say. And like niggas spent the whole show just clowning this man on the small dick. And
so he said that specific comment.
Yes.
In reference to that same gentleman.
Yes, that's exactly what he said.
Damn, son. Jesus.
That's exactly what he said. And bro, and it just made me think about the whole Nelly video leak and everything. You know, he accidentally leaked himself.
Yeah.
And just generally speaking, like how easy it is to just body shame men. Like, don't get me wrong, we just now get to a place where we are starting to properly respect women. Don't get me wrong about that. But like, in even most progressive circles, like, you know, I'm an activist. I hang around a lot of progressive circles. Even in my most progressive friends will body shame men about, or just hypothetically speaking, like if a man were to have a small penis, like niggas will clown him all day, every day, no problem. I'm like, what kind of shit is that? So what are your thoughts? Because it seems crazy to me.
I don't know, man. Like, okay, so I feel like it happens just as much in men's circles as it does in women's circles. Like, we body shame women just the equal amount.
But in shared circles, though, do you feel like it's easier, not right now, like these days, to body shame men than it is to body shame women?
Yeah, I mean, but not by much though. I feel like both are highly acceptable in like people's social circles. Because again, like generally they're your closer friends that you're body shaming these people in. Like, you're not just going up to, well, I don't know, I don't know now. I don't know now, because I've been at work and I'll be like, oh God, that bitch is huge. But at the same time, there's been fat dudes that come up in here, yo, man, this motherfucker ain't getting no pussy. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think body shaming is just accepted when you know that the people are not around. Like, I don't think it's really exclusive to any, you know, it's not done more against one group than another. Is it fucked up? Yes. But I think like we're always looking for, it's like an insecurity type thing, because like most people are obese on some level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like a large majority of people are obese on some level, but they be the main ones talking. You know what I mean? For one reason or another.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just more so an insecurity thing. Like everybody recognizes, oh, I got these insecurities. Let me mask them by making fun of everybody else.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? Like it's just accepted at this point. Like I'm more one of those people like, damn, that's unfortunate, but okay. You know what I mean? Like,
but why would you be okay with that though?
I'm not okay with it being done to me.
Why would you be okay with it happening to anybody?
Because sometimes I'll be the one making the joke.
A lot of times you'll be the one making the joke.
I mean, but like, let's be real. Like, I'm not gonna say currently, you know, but in our past, like we body shamed people before.
Yeah, for sure. And then we're gonna get to the root of like, you know, why it's been so socially acceptable. But yeah. I mean, to the first point, like, I mean, I think you're right, but I do feel like right now, the most of the country wants to be progressive. I don't know if necessarily most of the country is progressive, but I think most of the country wants to consider themselves progressive.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I think now more than ever, it is a whole lot less acceptable to body shame women than it is men. I want to say that's true. I'm thinking about it now.
I guess it's hard to tell because we don't often hear about those stories.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like, you know, we hear about the Lizzo stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And at this point, like being openly misogynist is just like corny, in my opinion. Like,
so because you're body shaming a woman, that makes you misogynist?
Well, I'm saying, for example, of course, it all depends on the intention behind it. But for example, one of the main, you know, ways misogyny takes form is body shaming women. I think that's one of the biggest ways it takes form. So, anytime you do anything misogynist, especially body shaming women, I think it like for most circles, it's just kind of corny now. Like you have certain circles of men who still do that because they just don't want to be better. Like they see too much advantage in just being gross and, you know, patriarchal. Those still exist, like, you know, Fresh and Fit podcast, which is your favorite podcast, or like Myron the Goat for Will, or like how Abba and Preacher like playfully misogynist sometimes. They're not even all that bad in my opinion, but like for the most part, that's just like corny for most people. Like most people can watch what they say and just be like, that's fucking gross. But those same people themselves would like openly body shame like a man as far as penis size in particularly, and it'd be completely fine, I would say. So that's what makes me think it's a little bit worse for men in that specific realm.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of it has to do, maybe, I'm not going to say a lot of it, but maybe some of it has to do with the fact that there is a certain, you know, you have to display that masculinity that lets people think that men suck it up or you should be able to take this or, you know.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, women who, you know, you have to be more sensitive to their feelings, I'm not gonna lie, man, even as a man, I'm kind of like, you better suck this shit up. Like, but like for somebody to go as far as like busting in on a nigga while he trying to take a shower, and then like them on the pod body shaming him.
Bruh.
That's probably the grossest part. Like just like them just being completely oblivious to the fact that like how dirty she did this whole man.
That like it's almost to the point that it's like they almost fostered him for like hiding it this whole time. You know, like it's kind of like, how do I explain this? It's almost like if you like maybe if he was more forthcoming about it, they still would have clowned him, but it would have been like different.
I guess they're viewing it as like he hid this shit. Almost like he had HIV or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Like it was some life-threatening thing that he was trying to sweeten up for her.
But is it the same thing as like, I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of leaning towards like it was fucked up. Like he knew he had a small penis size. Like you gonna try and get her to fall in love with you, and then be like, "Oh, I can't please you in bed."
I think there's a strategy that.
Now.
But first of all, we gotta stop this narrative that niggas with small dicks can't please women in bed, because women that I talk to who have had small men say like they're probably the most creative lovers in bed that they've ever had, because you're not just solely relying on like a huge dick to just get the job done. Like you're more into foreplay, which most women really need. You're more into, cunnilingus. You're more into like creative things rather than just going to Pound Town every time for 10 minutes and then it's done. So like, and then most women don't even come off of penetration alone in the first place. So like,
stop making up excuses for these small dicks.
It's not excuses. I'm just saying, like, we got to stop this narrative. Like, small dick means bad sex. But also, like, him knowing the stigma of having a small penis, like, he has to be strategic. Like, he knows that most women, if they see,
or I don't know, like, is it strategic or does it border on like deceptive? Because like,
no, because he never promised he had a big dick. It would be one thing if he said. If you want to think he said, I'm gonna knock the walls down.
It's the unavoidance of sex, knowing you have a little dick.
I think the only point you would have there is if he was lying about why he didn't want to have sex so early. If it was like solely because he wanted to take his time and he truly meant that, then no, there's no manipulation there. If it's like I'm gonna use this as an excuse to like my
man said, I'm gonna show you how good of a person I am.
But you should be doing that anyway.
So that this dick doesn't throw off the relationship later.
But like, what would be the alternative?
You'd be like, hey, I got a little dick. Let's go eat.
But you know how most women are gonna receive that, because they're not even gonna like go to that dinner, because it's gonna assume, most women will assume that you can't please them, and then boom. Like if you know that,
that's her choice. That's her choice.
It's her choice, but it's your choice to be strategic.
Hey, look. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Okay. Rihanna know ASAP Rocky got a little dick, because everybody else know ASAP Rocky got a little dick.
What is that common knowledge? How does everybody know ASAP Rocky has a little dick?
Because ASAP Rocky had that sex tape leaked years ago.
I never saw this sex tape.
Bro, you don't remember? That's why all those memes came out. Like
I missed that. Like,
bro, you didn't remember? There was like ASAP Rocky had the sex tape come out, and it was like, oh wow. It was like later on, it was like, oh wow, Rihanna really likes him for him.
Oh, I thought they were saying it because he's just like he's ASAP Rocky, and like he's just not really.
He got a little meat.
I missed that whole entire shit completely.
I'm just saying, man. Like I don't know, like I feel like it kind of borders on deception.
I don't think.
Like if you know, sex is a major part of a relationship. For some, I'm not gonna say for all, but for some, I feel like that's something you would like kind of put out there. Like if somebody, like it's almost like not having kids and you to have kids. It's like, or not having like a badass kid or something. Like I'm not gonna introduce you yet because I'm scared of what you might say.
Again, that's going on an assumption that a small dick equals bad sex, and I don't work with that assumption. That's not true for me.
I think he worked with that assumption.
Say what?
I believe he worked with that assumption.
I think he worked with that. She would assume that because most people do.
So isn't that like
what?
So if he assumed that she would assume that he couldn't please her because he has a little dick, isn't that something he should have revealed?
No, I think you would work your way to that point. I think he was eventually planning to have sex with her.
Oh, you think?
And well, I don't think he was gonna like not have sex with her forever. Like that wouldn't make any sense unless he said like I'm celibate to the end of time. Like that was never.
Once he got her full in love, taking trips and engagement and shit like that. After he put it on, after he avoided for the next umpteenth months. Yeah,
I think there's a way you can present what you need to present, and even knowing what could be the implications, because you don't know for sure but what could be the implications. There's a way you can present that. It's like giving your child like vegetables for the first time. You know that if you give Mackenzie just Brussels sprouts on a plate by itself, she's probably going to think it's nasty and just not even try it. Or if you mix it in with like some chicken and fucking, I don't know, some other crazy shit, like she'll be more willing to give it a try. Like it's not like fooling her.
So if I make you fall in love with me first, then you might be okay to try this little dick.
You might be more open. I'm saying that you will not use that as the first thing to like turn and tail. Like you weren't working with the assumption of when I'm still trying to get to know you as a person. The first thing
I want to know you got a little dick.
It'd be one thing if she said that. If she said like, I need to know how big your dick is. Like I need that for my personal whatever the fuck. And he just like came up with some lie. That'd be one thing. But like all he knew was that she was interested in sex. He wanted to take his time. Possibly to
because why?
Most likely to present it in a way that would not make her make quick assumptions about whether or not he could please her. Because we know how society acts.
Your man got a little dick and damn near lied to this lady, okay?
He did not lie about nothing. He ain't lie about shit.
Real close. He was lie adjacent. He was.
Regardless, the main subject. We're getting off topic.
We got. We did get off topic.
A whole debate about dick. The main subject is how do we get people to stop relegating the value of men to their penis size? Like that's the main thing I want to talk about. Like body shaming is one thing, but I do feel like as a man, in most circumstances, if it's found out that you have a small dick, you better have some money. If you ain't got no money and you got a small dick, like most people write you off as worthless.
Like, retard in this society.
Yeah, most people write you off as a straight leper that no one wants to go near. So like, how do we resolve that?
I don't know, man. I don't think that is necessarily true. I do believe that I think that if you got a little dick, you need to own up to it.
That's fine. But like you have to have a society that gives you the space to like do that and not be written off as unable to please your partner and just off top.
I guess you gotta change the way people view sex.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And with sex being thought of as just so, necessary for penetration.
Mm-hmm.
That's all people gonna think about. Little dick means lack of pleasure.
Yeah. I agree.
But I don't I don't know, man. I don't know if I can fight this good fight to where we're changing the minds of everybody about certain subjects. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like oftentimes we in these discussions, we be like, oh, well, you got to change people's mentality, this, that, and the third. Which, okay, yeah, I agree with that. But what are we gonna do in the short term?
It's a constant, but it's a constant everyday thing, though. It's not a have this done by January 2040. Like it's a constant reinforcing it in our conversations and like correcting each other. Like you said, like changing our view on sex. My whole philosophy lately has all been all about changing our view on pleasure, period. If you change that as a as a domino effect, changes all that in return. So I think it's more so getting to the root of it. Like, why do we even think like that in the first place? Well, it's usually because of porn. It's usually because of two-dimensional views of sex. It's usually us limiting ourselves, as far as what we can experience with pleasure-wise. So if we like change that whole dynamic, then that'll resolve that. So how do we do that? And that's a fun journey to take. Like taking the journey of exploring different ways you can experience pleasure outside of just penetration that's a mind-blowing. I feel like I'm just now fully delving into that at 34 years old, and it's been amazing. So I think if people see the joy in that instead of looking at it as a scary thing, because it does take a lot of vulnerability, it does take a lot of uncomfortable conversations, but if you look at the benefits that you receive from it all, as well as your partner will receive from it, because that's one thing I want to talk about is how this hurts women, because when men feel insecure about their penis size and their ability to perform based off of penis size, and most niggas don't have a huge dick, like, how does that affect you? So, like, why wouldn't you want to help do this work?
Yeah.
No.
I think it. Yeah. I guess for women, it comes from the same place that you know, people feel so comfortable with judging women's bodies. You know what I mean? So it's just a feeling, in a reaction to something that they've been accustomed to dealing with for so long.
That
it's just become accepted. I don't know, man. Niggas got to toughen up. Little dick's got to come out.
This nigga's not helping the conversation at all. Every time you say something,
so okay. So what do you think about body shaming as far as weight in men? Like, is there a difference between body shaming and like true unacceptance of a certain body type? Because like I feel like, especially for men, women are willing to accept less prototypical in shape man.
Yeah.
Versus men to women. You know what I mean? I think we're much more critical on body type.
I agree, because I think there's much higher and much more unattainable beauty standards that apply to women that don't necessarily apply to men. I agree with that. And I think,
do you think women are just more realistic in their expectations of the male body type?
I mean, they could be, but I think that's because of socialization. Like, I think the reason men look at women the way we do is because we've been socialized to do that. Like, I think we're all first of all, I think all of us have been socialized to just completely ostracize like regular bodies for the most part. Like, when you see a regular body on TV, like it's a well curated regular body. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a fat person, it's an acceptable fat person. You know what I'm saying? Or
it's not like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
It's like a hot low 200s.
yeah. Or if it's like a someone who I guess you would call morbidly obese, it's usually like a older woman or something, or somebody who's older who's not meant to be desirable at all in the first place. So it's all very well carefully planned. But as far as young people, I think in general, like we just all been socialized to just look at regular bodies like, ugh. Like you look at Instagram and stuff, all you see is well curated bodies. And the few spaces you do see the body positivity movements, even those are very well curated. So it's just so wild how we just been viewed to look at like regular sized penises or like regular sagging boobs or like cellulite as like gross. Like that's so strange to me. That's always been weird. So I wonder if I feel like we're awakening to that, because it's so funny because we always talk about how fake the industry is. We always talk about that, but we still subscribe to it in our day-to-day interactions. It's so strange to me.
Do you think we're waking up to that, or do you think it's that? I don't know. Do you think? Okay, so let me ask you this: do you think that people back in the day before social media got huge, do you think there was a higher premium on well curated bodies, or do you think it was a lower visibility of fat bodies, or of regular bodies? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So do you think like the beauty standard was more defined back then, making like the emphasis on having a perfect body, a perfect woman? Do you think that was more pushed back then, or do you think it's more pushed now?
There's definitely more pushback now, but I think that the pushback has been happening for a very long time now. Like you can see media from even back in like the 90s or 80s or 70s even do satire on how fake the industry is. You know what I mean? Like people have been talking about this for the longest, and so it's not anything new, but we're talking about it more than ever now because now the people have the ability to go viral with their opinions versus just someone taking an idea to some type of media platform and then presenting it on the TV. Now, literally, me or you can just say it on Instagram and it can catch fire and go around the world overnight. So I think it's been around for a very long time. And I think there's some type of weird disconnect between us knowing that, but still when we see a regular body like in a regular picture, we still look at it like, oh, why would they come out like that when they're just like wearing like regular clothes and they just like happen to be a big person?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
I don't know, some good looking big women out here.
Oh yeah, well, there's plenty of them. Absolutely.
But there's no good looking little dick men out here. Zero.
10 steps forward and 1,000 steps back. Stop body shaming, man, and woman, and everybody else.
Listen to Kevin Samuels. All you got to do.
Except the little penis
will lead you the right direction.
The little dick is more. Is it swallowable, or you can get more than the little dick? You can get the little dick and the balls in your mouth at the same time.
Yeah, you can
get everything in there.
Whatever you want to them, girl.
That's how you can just. I mean, that man bust in 2 seconds. Imagine getting imagine getting your whole junk gawked at the same time. That's got to be incredible.
Okay. Hey, okay. So on a side note, okay, we're gonna get back to what we're talking about real quick. All right. Tell me why I've been having like daydreams. This shit is so off topic. I've been having daydreams about getting gummed down by some chick.
Some random chick, or is it somebody specific?
No, just some chick in life at some point in my life.
Okay.
Hopefully, Taryn. Hopefully, well, I don't hope she loses her teeth.
Oh, gummed down like no teeth at all.
Yeah, just no teeth. Just
that's hilarious.
Putting pressure on my shit. Just
that's incredible. That's go to the bingo hall and just pick one. Just get one and get.
Hopefully, she doesn't lose her teeth.
But if she does.
What if she does?
Just Gawk City. That sounds incredible. No, that sounds.
I remember back in the day, you used to watch HBO. You used to be watching Hookers and Johns, Pimps Up, Hoes Down, and shit.
Oh yeah.
Lady would take her teeth out. She'd be like, "Oh, you don't go around the corner, such and such and such." Like, oh, this nigga's about to get done up, son.
You never had a woman like ball her mouth though? Like it's similar to that.
It's not the same. It's not the
same. But as long as she's like, she gets some moisture in there, it's good. It's still a good time.
No.
You want the pressure. You want the pressure without the repercussions.
I want you to like with all gum just all the way down. Just like I just want there to be like no fear of me getting bit, but all the pressure.
Oh, that does sound incredible.
Just like start chewing on my shit.
That should sound, especially when you busting. That sound like you bite. That should sound crazy.
Nigga, I'm about to die in this bitch.
Ooh, man.
All right. Oh,
ridiculous as episode.
All right. So on from that. The Steve Harvey. The Steve Harvey Earn Your Leisure interview. The Dope Brothers from Earn Your Leisure podcast, Earn Your Leisure on Instagram. They basically have a podcast where they try and bridge finances and financial independence, financial education with hip hop and how it kind of relates to our culture or relates to the culture. Two dope brothers on there. I think they've had this podcast for a while now, but it's really starting to blow up. And recently they got an interview with one Mr. Steve Harvey. Mm-hmm. Really dope. At least to me. There are some haters out here. So yeah, man, the interview blew up. And people are loving it. Jamel Hill commented on it, how great it was. A couple other people have as well. So what do you think of it, Mike?
I thought it was cool, man. It didn't blow my mind. First, I don't know anything about this podcast. I never heard of them before. They must be blowing up because they have Steve Harvey. Because Steve Harvey don't be doing interviews like that, especially over 2 hour one. That's really dope to see. I thought it was just cool, man. It wasn't for me. I didn't necessarily feel like I got anything like super mind blowing from it. I get what I value most is getting insight from Steve as to how he. First of all, the whole shit with his tax, which I'm sure we'll talk about that. The whole shit with his tax issues, with the $12 million on the $12 million to the IRS. That's because I remember that time.
22 million.
It was what? How many?
22 million.
I was right. Yeah, you're right. I remember that time because Steve was just, you just saw Steve every fucking where, and you still see him now, but you just saw him everywhere. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, does he owe the mafia money? Like, what is going on? And it turned out like that whole thing with his, accountant, just motherfucker was just taking money out of the account for his ex.
Bro,
that was crazy. But to know that
he, at least for real, my man was getting done up.
But to know that he just was like, all right, I'm gonna get out of the situation, and I'm just gonna take his word for it. Like, we don't know, what's true, what's not for sure, but I don't have no reason to believe he would just blatantly lie about things.
Mm-hmm.
To think that he would just be like, all right, I'm gonna pay this shit off and just bust his ass like that, just get back-to-back shows, do this pay-per-view. As an entertainer, like, it's one thing as like a an accountant, or a teacher or somebody just picking up extra hours, but this is entertainment. Like, you in front of thousands and thousands of people, show after show after show, and just turn out every show, and just, that's crazy to me. This is really dope. But yeah, that's what I got most out of it, just insight from Steve. But in particular, like, of course, it's a very capitalist mindset podcast, which is cool for those it's cool for. I'm not particularly, super impressed with things like that myself. Because I don't think Black capitalism is necessarily the solution. I think it's a whole cultural shift that has to take place. But for those who resonate with that, I think it's good for those type of people. And I don't know, it was cool.
So
I know you loved it so much.
No, man. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think one of the bigger things I took away from it is you have to have somewhat of a clear picture on where you want your life to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for Steve, it was always that. Like, he told the story about how he knew he wanted to be on TV, since he was young.
Yeah.
And another thing I think about is how the system, in a way, kills your dreams somewhat out the gate. Like, I think oftentimes we have an idea in our mind of what we want to do as a child. And for whatever reason, whether it be your grades at an early age, your parents trying to get you to, especially for our generation, our parents trying to get us to at least a medium job that pays us well, to where we can make a certain amount of money to live a decent life. I think, like, just so many things are dream killers.
Yeah.
Education, parents, just outside influences, people knocking you down, whatever. So many things are dream killers to people. And I think this podcast really showed a lot of, like, just perseverance and just striving towards that one goal. You know what I mean? Like, never really letting yourself be knocked off the path.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, so that was really dope. We're gonna talk about some of the other parts real quick, but first thing I want to get to is these 5 core principles that Steve has. Now, you have a problem with it because you have a problem with everything right now.
I did not say that.
I thought I knew Mike, and now he just has a problem with everything.
You literally agree with me when I first brought up my concern about this whole part.
Okay, yeah, I did, and then I was like, wait, like I did. And I was like, that's just wrong.
Okay.
After I thought about it, I really did think about it. So initially, when we first started talking about, like, what we were going to talk about on the show, and we were like, yo, those 5 core principles Steve had sounds like, I think I said this out of my mouth. I said, sounds like a nigga that's been proven right. Like, it seems like, these 5 core principles are things you learn from being proved right.
Yeah.
But I had to walk that back over the course, while I was thinking it. And I was like, most lessons learned are really learned when you fail. So, in that aspect, do we learn a lot from, and I had to take him at his word with some of the stuff he said, because, you know, do you learn a lot when you're winning? Probably not. You know what I mean? You just learn to win. But like values and principles that you stand on, I feel like more than likely come from a place of failure. What do you think?
I feel like it's like even. I feel like if the person's intention is to learn, they can learn equally from success as they do from failure, if that is their intention. If their intention is just to make money or, you know, to satisfy somebody, then yeah, you're probably not learning anything.
Yeah. You know, so you said the Steve's 5 core principles show how privileged people who have money can afford to dream. You expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, you first want to read the 5 principles.
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about?
So the 5 core principles are: dream big, use your imagination, show gratitude, overcome fear, and have faith.
Yeah. So first of all, I don't have any problem with the principles themselves. I think they're all, you know, absolutely right and things that you should apply. What I said was, because these are the 5 principles he said for success in business. And what I said was, although I agree with them, it sounds like someone who has the ability to, you know, the leisure to just dream and just say, you know, just dream big, just use your imagination. And then what I questioned when me and you first talked was when Steve was homeless and he was out here struggling and he didn't know where his next gig would come from. He didn't know how he was going to make it. What would he say if like rich Steve told him, like if struggling Steve was like, man, I'm you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm working out, you know, they're not hiring me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the business plan is. Any of these things. Like, what do I need to do? And if rich Steve just told him these 5 things, I would think that homeless Steve would be like, nigga, I'm trying to, like, I got bills to pay. Like, what I need to do tangibly. And I know that's a whole, you know, that's probably a whole nother podcast for him to do. But what do I need to do tangibly to like actually, you know, not only find my passion, but my business plan, strategize, budget, schedule, you know, can network. You know, it just seems like a very superficial answer that's not necessarily wrong, but it sounds like someone who has already made it and can
It's
just
more like impractical for the man going through it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And I think that's what kind of happens a lot of times in these circles. When you have a big name star like Steve Harvey, you don't want to press him too hard on like, but like, how do people actually like deal with, you know, systemic issues stopping them from happening, you know, things from panning out, let alone like someone who is relatively well off, but still needs that like plan and action to keep doing over and over again. Because, you know, when you start a business, it's not just a one-time thing. It's a everyday thing. Most businesses fail within the first 5 years because most people have a good start, but they can't sustain it. So that's what I was saying. Like, it just sounds like somebody who already made it.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know what broke Steve would say to rich Steve, but like, I would think that like, since it's coming from his mouth, you know, I would hope he would say that he's attempting to do all these things. He's keeping his dream alive, you know. He's using his imagination on how to, you know, get out of his situation or how to, you know, build his brand.
Yeah.
He's showing gratitude to everybody who's given an opportunity. He's overcoming the fear, you know what I mean? And he's having faith in himself. You know, with these being, you know, principles, as he said, you know, these are kind of like things that you automatically do or things that you stand on.
Right.
That you just have to make sure you don't fail yourself on keeping up with them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so it's different in the, like, these are the steps. You know.
I see that. Maybe that was the purpose of the podcast, just give you inspiration. Maybe that was the whole intention of the podcast.
Yeah. What I don't like about these is that, like, you know, which the same thing I don't like about a lot of self-help books, and you know, I'm guilty of it. Like, I read some of them, you know, but it's like it's easy for somebody to give you a roadmap on like what to do, but it's not very realistic or practical to assume that the person is going to incorporate these things into their life just by reading said book or listening to this podcast. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, like while it gives people the roadmap, like I feel like 9 times out of 10 it's gonna fall flat. That being said, like I think the 10% you get through to, it's a crowning achievement. You know what I mean?
So do you think it's marketed in a way that is just sellable and will only help a few people? Is that what you're speaking to?
I don't think it just, I guess what I'm more so saying is like I just wish we could figure out a better way to break through to people, to change people's, if we're going to like have people in this capitalistic system, which I'm fine with, let me get that clear, I'm fine with capitalism. There has to be a better way to reach people, to reach people's core, like to change the way they think, to change their mindset. It's tough to break through to somebody's mentality, how they view things. And I don't think that it's marketed to people like this. I don't think it's marketed to people to sell a dream, to sell nonsense. You know what I mean? To sell something that's unattainable. Yeah. It's legit, solid information in here that's 100% accurate. You know what I mean? If you have faith in yourself, overcome fear, show gratitude, all these things, they're real.
Sure, yeah.
But for somebody to truly absorb it and make use out of it, that's tough. And it's nobody's fault, really.
Well, I think it's part of the reason it's so tough is because it's structurally the way what I call hypercapitalism works is the level of consumption and the level of domination that you are usually taught to pursue is precisely what makes it so tough. Like, so, because we're going to get to how Steve talked about how, what's the billionaire's name?
Robert something.
Robert Smith, I think it was.
Yeah, Robert Smith.
Dude, yeah, how he told him to chase scale. If we're continuing this narrative of like get it how by any means necessary, get as much as possible while spending as little as possible. That is where that hyperconsumption and that oppression comes from, is that you get into that mindset of I want to be that big boss who pays people as little wages as possible while making as much profit as possible. And that's precisely why it's so hard to get through to people, because those people are suffering through that. The people who are trying to make it to be Steve are suffering that right now. So it's like, how can I be that when I'm being proven right now that hard work doesn't equal huge payoff? Like our generation understands that more than anybody. As hard as we work.
Have a certain amount of belief in yourself, right?
Yeah, all that's true. But like you can have all these principles, what I'm saying, but if you don't change things structurally, like how attainable is that
within the system or structurally within yourself and like how you operate?
Both. Both. Well, how you operate, period, regardless of what system's going on, you still need to, push yourself. But like systematically, as well, yes, you need to change that as well. If it's going to have a sustainable society where most people are able to live a comfortable life that you're saying that you want to help people attain.
Yeah, okay. I think it's okay to want to touch some people, as like you want to improve some people's lives. But the reality is you're not going to improve most people's lives. You know what I mean? So like you have to be okay with the wins and not necessarily count the people that you can't reach as losses.
I think that's good to an extent, but I think there's value in asking why are there so many losses? Like, why have you not touched with certain people? That's where I differ from most people is I want to know, why does it not resonate with a particular person other than they just don't want to do the thing? I think most people want to be successful. Most people want to have a well-paying job and work, maybe not work super hard, but earn their living.
That's the thing. Like, do most people want to work hard? I don't believe
most people work hard. I think most people have no problem working hard as long as it's something that is paying off and they're passionate about. I think most people have no problem doing that. The fact is the problem is we're living in a gig economy where most people are working on something they're not passionate about at all, but they have to do for not, probably not being paid well. They probably went to school for something completely different, and they just have to do this to survive. That's where you get that beat down mentality of like, I can't take this shit no more because I'm just grinding through the shit every day, 8 hours at this fucking job, really 9 hours, more than that if you're some people. And I got these fucking kids and I got all this other stuff going on, and I have this little bit of time for myself to feel pleasure. So like people are just worn out. I feel like most people are working hard and have no problem doing so. It's the problem with what they're working hard for.
Yeah. Don't you have to take the time to, despite all your responsibilities, all the things that kind of siphon their time away from you, away from yourself, don't you still have to find the time to better yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so with that, right, while yes, society will even kill your time that you can spend on yourself by marketing to you through like social media, just other mindless shit, right? Mm-hmm. Like essentially, you fucking off for an hour on social media is essentially you killing yourself, right? You're still diving back into the, you're still selling, whatever, like you're still buying, you're still consuming, rather than putting that time investment into yourself.
Well, I think it depends. I think that statement depends though, of are you resting or are you just aimlessly doing whatever? I think 9 times
out of 10 people are, I don't know like, I don't think there's much difference when it comes to a lot of behavior in regards to certain activities that we do, because you can rest while learning something, right? Like you can watch a documentary on some topic you care about or whatever. I think people are just not interested or don't have the focus to understand that all these things are kind of stopping me from what I want to do. Like there's very little accountability on ourselves at the end of the day. It's probably what I'm getting at. People don't have much accountability for themselves. Like everything is happening to them. I can't stand that mentality. Like people, these things are happening to me. Yeah, they are, but like, at what point do you like say, hey, I do have control over such and such and such and such? Yeah, my job's shit, but like, I can make the best out of it, or I can learn from this job and take it somewhere else or whatever. There's very little personal accountability, I feel like.
I think you have a point, but again, if you're, because this is going to go into like how the concept of work, and there's a really good book you should read. I'm hoping I can find it before the end of the podcast. How the concept of work was created to be a mindset, not just a job, but like an entire culture around how we view work. When you have that ingrained into your soul, like that any lack of work is laziness, but the work that you're doing is constantly unfulfilling and constantly grinding the energy out of you. It's like at the end of the day, for most people, they have nothing they feel like they can really do but just waste time on YouTube, because that's the only like ounce of pleasure I can get. Like if I'm not at work and I'm not dealing with kids, I'm not having to pay this bill for this was one little moment. What can I do in this one little moment to experience pleasure to where I'm not being taxed? And I don't think learning is necessarily always rest. I think to truly rest is to truly just sit the fuck still and know you have no responsibilities. Because even if you're watching an informational video, you feel like you should be writing something down, at least mentally anyway. You should be recording something for future use. To truly rest, to just just lay the fuck down and just sit still. Like people need to be able to do that. And sometimes that takes the shape of just cruising on Facebook on mindless shit. That's what I'm saying. So for them, it's like, I've done all this work. I've been constantly working. My accountability is me going back to work. But even when I hate this fucking job, I hate paying all these bills and these taxes. And like, can I at least rest and watch this video? Because that's all I have. Well, that's all I feel like I have anyway.
Yeah. Also, like, let's be honest. Like, most people waste a lot of time doing mindless shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I don't know, man. And even like, I don't know. I don't even give people a pass when like they're like, oh, I've been working, you know, such and such. I'm tired. Like, I hate my job. Like, get over it. Like, if you want to overcome your circumstances, like, you will not rest even more. Right?
Don't you need rest to be able to do what you want to be able to do what you want and need to do? Don't you need rest?
You need sleep.
You need rest. Like sleep. Sleep is essential and rest is essential. I don't define it as one and the same. I think you need rest. Like if you don't ever rest, if the only rest you get is when you sleep and you just wake up to do work again, how does it not beat all the vigor out of you daily?
It probably will. It probably will. But like, I guess that my point is like, man, like you can't just blame everybody for not overcoming. Like you have to figure out a way to overcome, right? Like you can't, like blaming the system, wanting to tear down the system is not going to do much for you in the short term. You have to somehow divest from the rat race. You got to somehow get out of it, whether it's going harder at it for a little while and knowing when you're going to get out, or having a goal for when you're going to get out, or it's either just, you know, divesting from social media, all these other things that rob your time, whether it's rest or, you know, bullshit.
I'm not disagreeing with you. No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You just gotta find the time.
I don't disagree with that at all, but I do think not holding the system accountable, something that we pay taxes to, something that we have to adhere to, I think just completely ignoring that only furthers the problem.
I'm not saying you have to ignore it. I'm just saying, like, okay, we held the system accountable. System's fucking me. All right, what next?
But you can do both. Like you can tackle both issues. That's what I'm saying. Like you can do. That'd be like me not doing any of the things I do now. Because I don't fuck with a lot of things going on right now, and I do a whole lot of stuff on the side. Like because I refuse. Because my good friend said this before. Like as much as I am upset about things, I refuse to let that just take over my mind to the point that I just give up and just like you said, just go through the motions and just sit around complaining. But in my, activism, in my calling out of things, I want to see things change. Because again, I feel like it's reaching an apex. I really feel it's already there, really, where the level of consumption is just unsustainable. And again, I say this all the time. Like, I don't want Mackenzie to grow up with these same issues because I think it's going to be 10 billion times worse for her if things continue on this road, to where if she's not like a mindless robot working in, tech, like she's just going to be fucking absolutely miserable. So yeah, I think, like I said, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think we can do both. We should do both.
As a society, yes, we should. As an individual who's going through it, I don't see what it does for you to blame the system and not make the necessary changes in your own life, no matter what those changes look like.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not definitely not saying that. The book is called "The Problem with Work" by Kathy Weeks.
Okay,
definitely check it out. Maybe we talk about it on the show. It's a pretty dense book. Like she's a super academic, and it's up there, but it's a really good read.
Yeah, get your money.
Definitely get your money still now. I ain't telling you. Listen, I ain't telling you to be a broke boy out here in the cardboard box trying to fight the struggle. Fight the struggle.
All right, so you said, do you think it's an issue that people like Steve base their philosophy for success on Christian faith?
Well, I do want to talk about this. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask that question to you because you consider yourself a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's interesting how, everything he says falls back to Christian beliefs. And he's done this multiple times. Like, if you're not Christian, or if you don't believe in God, like he just kind of writes you off as like, well, you must not really want success like that. Like you must be like good with going to hell. Like all the basis of his definition of success is based in the Christian faith. And it's like, are you saying that people who aren't Christians, who don't believe in God, just can't make it? Are you saying like the Bible is the only way, the only tool you can use to know where you're going? Like that does not make any sense to me at all.
No, it doesn't make sense at all. Right. But I don't think that's what he's saying either. I think there's a large group of people who believe that, but Steve's been around enough rich atheists to know like that shit just not true. You know what I mean? But I think like for him, because everybody has their own journey, that's how he believes that it should be done. You know what I mean? That's what's Christianity, his faith in God, has proven him right.
Yeah, it'd be one thing, but I think he says it like it's like the way, especially the way he's described like heaven during the podcast. He was like, what did he say? He said, he talked to somebody. He said, I don't believe in heaven. He was like, all right, well, you can believe it or not, but it's still there. You know what part I'm talking about?
I do. And he essentially, he was like, what did he say? He said something about along the lines of like, it's better for me to believe in God. Because if he's not real, then okay, well, I live my best life. But if he is real, then you people who don't believe his ass out.
Yeah, I think that philosophy, because I remember there was another interview he did where he said, if you don't believe in God, then he can't trust you because he doesn't know where your moral barometer lies. You remember that interview? This is like years ago.
I mean, I don't remember that interview, but I mean, I can believe it. I mean, there are some people who truly base their faith like that. Now, do I think that was? I don't believe he was telling the truth. I believe that was a little, embellished, but because I'm sure he's had enough dealings with non-Christian folks who are trustworthy. But I think Christianity, like people, that is a real thing. Like some people are so devout in their beliefs, and this is not just exclusively to Christianity.
No,
it's exclusively to most monotheistic religions,
for sure.
So I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't believe him when he says it, but
you just don't believe him.
I mean, it's like it's kind of ludicrous, like.
But that's what I'm saying. I think he's telling the truth because most Christians kind of are hypocritical in their talk, regardless.
I don't believe most even Christians believe that. Like, oh well, you believe in God? Oh, I trust you a little bit more. You know what I mean? But like once you know a person, you know what I mean? That's just not true. Like that's just a little too much. Like that's some shit you say for the TV.
I think most Christians do believe that, and it's not till they get to know somebody without knowing their faith first. Because this literally happened to me, and this is
okay. Yeah, that's probably more true.
Yeah, because I had somebody who I considered a friend who did not know I wasn't Christian for the longest. We were friends for like 6 months, and a mutual friend of ours had told her that I don't believe in God, and she just assumed I was a Satanist. She just assumed that on top.
I know who this was.
You don't know what? Who do you think it is?
I thought if it was your little friend that ain't never had sex in her.
Oh no, it's terrible. No, it was not her. But yeah, she went straight to like, oh, he worships the devil, and she avoided me for like a week. It was super weird. And I finally talked to her. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And she was like, I heard you didn't believe in God. I just didn't want you to curse me or some shit. She said some crazy shit like that. Yeah, I think what I said just now is for sure. So I think
it's probably more so in reverse. Like they have to know you before they trust you.
If you introduce yourself as I'm Mike and I don't believe in God, like this motherfucker is probably gonna run out the building.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Every time you say it, lets me know that I won't see you in heaven. That's a damn shame.
That's a shame, man. I'll be waving at you, bro.
You were such a good Earth friend.
Bro, hell gonna be lit. What you mean? Like all the lit people go to hell. Like
yeah, lit on fire.
like all the heathens, all the whores, they gonna be down here just.
Watch, bro. Heaven gonna be lit. It's gonna be a crisp, like it's gonna be like every room is gonna be like climate control for that person, and then like the main area is gonna be like a hot 72 degrees. Like it's gonna be cool.
True, but it's gonna be full of squares though. It's gonna be full of like nerds. It's gonna be full of niggas that just you be trying to talk to them. They don't understand your jokes.
Bro, it's gonna be all Christian jokes. Everybody gonna be lit.
It's gonna be a constant. You know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be a constant Tyler Perry play. Is that where you want to live? Like an ongoing Tyler Perry play. Movies, not the good plays. The movies.
It's gonna be lit there. What did you talk about? You hating?
All right, man.
You and Elon Musk can burn up down there if y'all want to.
Oh, Elon lit. That's what I get along with billionaires is when we in hell.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, the thought of eternal fire is that's too much for me.
Did y'all have hell houses in your church?
What is that?
It's that. Oh, it's really fucked up. It's when they made these whole plays in the house to where what would happen if you died and you don't repent for your sins, and like
you got the heat on 90 in the
bitch. Even worse, like each room would play out like a horrific scene that would happen to you if you don't.
Oh yeah, I've been to those before.
It's just terrible. That was awful.
I didn't know they were called hell houses.
That's what I call them. I seen niggas get decapitated and shit. I was like, oh no, I need to go read the Bible. That's terrible.
They had the little orange and the red sheen just blowing. It's supposed to represent hell.
Yeah.
Some nigga in a Satan suit stalking some other nigga.
Yes, bro. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. Oh goodness. Do we want to hit anything else in this? I know we're going over time, but
yeah. Okay. Real quick. Steve's resentment. Explain this. Steve's resentment towards his.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't have hustle and grind.
Yeah. Remember he was talking about his kids, and he was like, Steve. I'm pretty much sold on the fact that Steve's like probably a workaholic at this point. Like I used to think like he was doing this for either his wife, because his wife is known to date like baller ass niggas. I don't know if you know Marjorie like that. But I'm convinced like he just has a mindset of a worker for like the rest of his life. The fact that he said he wasn't gonna stop till he was like 104 years old, I was like, yeah, this nigga is made to work forever.
Don't believe him. Don't believe him.
I don't know, bro. Like the way he's going right now, he's 60 something right now and doing all this shit. Like I don't know, man. But he was like, it seemed like he was like feeling some resentment, like his kids or like good, like his kids have a safety net and he didn't have a safety net. It was like either make it or die. And his kids is like, even if they don't make it, they got they got the net to fall back on. And he said something about like, how do you teach your kids how to hustle and grind when they don't have to hustle and grind? Like,
so yeah, like I mean, okay, so essentially he was talking about like how you can teach somebody to really, really pursue something and go out and get it when they've never had to struggle in their life. Which I believe is like real, right? Like, isn't poverty and poor conditions generally the best motivator to get out of your situation?
I don't think it has to be. No. I think you can, your parent can show you the value of $1 and still make you work for what you want and not allow you to just completely be ass out. I don't think that you have to be struggling to learn that lesson.
I think it's harder to teach people work ethic when they've been privileged.
I think you just have to be more intentional about it. Like you just have to be like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you don't get the whole world handed to you. Like you just, like Lord knows my mom has made a way, make a way for me growing up. Like I was like one of my only friends who didn't really work in high school, but like I was constantly doing stuff, having to do stuff around the house or just keep up with just certain things. Like she just gave me these particular jobs. Like if I didn't keep up with that, then I wouldn't get like video games or whatever the fuck. Like, and so my mom struggled as a child. Like my mom has worked since she was a literal child in fields at ungodly hours. and her mantra was like, my son will never endure none of this. She had an incredibly abusive dad. My grandmother was awesome, but she was just, she was afraid of her husband. So my mom has been through it, and she just had intention behind it. Like, she was just like, you just not, you can have the world, but it's not gonna come for free. So she's never, I don't think that's.
Do you think that you would have a more so you believe that you couldn't have a better work ethic than you have now? Like, you couldn't have a more clear picture of where you wanted to go than you have now? Because I think that's essentially what Steve is alluding to, that like, when you don't have this real motivating force being poverty or struggle behind you, that you become unfocused, or you don't have a clear picture of where you want to be. Like, you don't have that strong work ethic to push you forward, because I think essentially, at least in his case, that work ethic kept him fed. You know what I mean? It kept him off the streets for the most part. Obviously, he was sleeping in his car for a while, but and I don't think he was disappointed that he felt like his kids wouldn't, not necessarily disappointed, but he felt like he was essentially like somewhat robbing them of opportunity to learn from their circumstances, instead of them being brought into this life of comfort.
So, number one, I don't think working from a sense of desperation is inherently good, because you can end up doing anything for money to stay alive, including things that could like be detrimental to your livelihood. So,
correct.
So that's one thing.
I guess. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So that's one thing. And another, like, I don't know how Steve parented his kids. It sounded like, because he complains about his kids like quite often. I don't know if he does it lately, but listening to Steve Harvey show back in the day, like he was constantly complaining about how spoiled his kids were. It sounded like that was more of a parenting thing.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question, I think if they're coming from a privileged background, like, why wouldn't you just focus on teaching them how to leave a legacy for themselves versus like learning how to come from struggle? Like, couldn't you just center your parenting around like, this is my name. Like, we got all this because of Steve Harvey, but what is your name going to be, Lori Harvey, with your fine ass? Like, what mark are you going to leave in this?
Oh, come on now, that was just unnecessary. You just misogynized the whole shit. Like,
It had to be said. What are you going to do, Lori Harvey, with your name while you're on this planet, so people don't just call you like Steve Harvey's daughter who just got the world handed to her? I think you could curate entire parenthood around that.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I just think he was more so talking about like their work ethic initially out of the gates not being as good as his because of the strong motivator, But
you didn't feel a sense of resentment, like how he was talking about it, like he was like, these kids ain't had to do none of what I had to do, man. I had to do this.
I don't know if it was resentment or it's like, this is a lesson I won't be able to teach them as effectively as I had to learn it, or in the way I had to learn it. Because for Steve, struggle was essentially like one of the biggest motivators for him overcoming his stuff. You know what I mean? And so for him, he feels like that is the way. Struggle pushes you forward.
But I think that's what the resentment, just speculating, especially knowing his generation and how similar Black folks are often the same way.
Yeah.
That sense of like, y'all ain't got to work for y'all ain't got to do none of the shit that we used to do. Like, we used to have to tiptoe around white people and shit and bust our ass for hours. Y'all ain't got to do none of that. And y'all complaining about what y'all complaining about now? Like, older Black folks will, not all of them, of course, but they will talk shit about our generation in terms of what we are fighting for. Like, we ain't shit. Like, because of what they went through.
Y'all ain't shit. Y'all just want to get rid of capitalism. Da 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 da. Oh, it's everybody else's fault. I ain't got the time to focus on myself. Get out of here.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying none of that.
I'm a baby boomer at heart. Like, I'm with the shit.
You are, nigga. You absolutely are. 1,000%. 1,000%.
At heart, I was born in 1968. Like, I'm with the shit.
Oh shit! I'll give you a decade before that. Really, you was
I'm about to say I meant to say 58.
Yeah, you was in the roaring 70s, like on Soul Train and shit.
Right.
I agree. Yeah, but that's just what I felt.
Yeah, and Steve Harvey talking about how Robert Smith taught him to produce scale and the effect it has on his business and on his success in relationships.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say this real quick. Not everybody can come with you, okay? Not everybody can come with you. So fuck them.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. Not everybody wants to come with you, really. Not truthfully. Yeah. Not without a free ride.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about with that was, like I said, he's made it a point, like he wants to be the biggest entertainer in the world, I feel like. And what it made me think about was the whole situation with Monique, when Monique got blackballed and she went on his show talking about how, behind the scenes in private, like she talked to Steve, she talked to Lee Daniels, she talked to Tyler Perry, Oprah, all those people who said she was right on the phone, but in public, like nobody spoke up for her. And she was just talking about how hurt she was by that. And Steve was like, well, we out here trying to make it. Like, what you want us to do? She was like, I understand you trying to make it, but like, what about your integrity? And Steve was basically like, man, damn an integrity. Like, I need to keep this shit up. Like, if I crumble, like this whole situation crumbles. Like my whole empire crumbles. Like, I ain't got time to worry about no integrity. And I just thought that was interesting. Like, I think that's what happens when you chase scale over, general quality of life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but like, I'm one of those people that like, if I don't want to, then I don't have to.
Yeah, sure.
Like, while that's unfortunate for you, I'm legit, like, I'm not about to fuck up my shit for me to put myself on the line for you. I don't think that's a shot to my integrity.
It is if it is. It is if it is. Like, it's the reason why you don't want to do that. It's the reason behind why you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, right? We both agree with that. But why don't you want to, like, in this instance, why wouldn't you want to speak up for Monique? If the reason you don't want to speak up for Monique is because you just don't want to lose your money, like, then say that, is what I'm saying. I think that is an integrity thing. When you told this woman that she was right behind, closed doors, but in public, you hush mouth. On the show,
how do you say that publicly?
So what?
How do you say that publicly? Like, I want to say something about Monique, but like, I don't want my money to be fucked up. Like, that would make you just look even more pathetic than like agreeing with her on something that's super unpopular.
I think that's when you just get on your shoebox and just stand up for what you believe to be right. Like, if you think this woman is being done wrong and this is someone you call your sister, you got to make a decision if you're going to do that or not. And that's your decision to make.
Yeah.
But you do have to say what it is, though.
No, you don't. I don't got to answer to nobody but myself and God.
God, Elon Musk gonna make him over here.
Yeah, bro, fuck that. Ain't nothing fuck up the bag, baby.
I see that, man.
So let you go out here and say some wild shit.
I'm about to.
Nigga, you out by yourself. I'm gonna be in the background.
Nah, bro, we're gonna be there holding hands and like interlock. We'll be like this. Nah.
It's gonna be like, I stand with you. Were trying to raise my shit.
That's gonna happen.
All right, man. Good show today. On to the thirst of the week.
Oh yeah, let me put my notes for the amazing. Oh shoot, what's my thing? Where's my thing? Too many tabs open. All right, you already got the thing open? I can't see two screens.
Got you, baby.
Appreciate you, man. This week's thirst of the week is the lovely, incredible, fine as Miss Tatted Poodle, whose real name is Michelle. Tatted Poodle is a cosplayer and a content creator based in San Francisco, California. She strives to have a safe space for her community, no matter what background or religion. She has hosted workshops for up-and-coming content creators and cosplay on a budget tutorials for those who do not have the finances to cosplay freely, because that shit can be expensive. If you see people out here at Comic-Con, they be going all out. Poodle also has a background in photography and graphic design, which helps her enhance her creative skills. Poodle follows a well-known Rock Lee quote. If you don't know Rock Lee, you're not a nerd. It's okay. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. This is like one of my favorite streamers on Twitch. She usually plays like Apex and stuff. She's just really chill person. Like, first of all, this boom in like black female gamers on Twitch is incredible. I don't know. It's fucking like I watched an all women's Apex tournament the other night, and one of my favorite teams was an all black team, and they got second place. And just seeing black women just out here just fucking beaming niggas. Like,
was Bliss on that team?
No, Bliss wasn't on it. This was when Miss Fun Size, Mufasa Screams, and the third. I didn't know the third woman. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
All streamers you should also check out as well. But as you can see, like, we just love black female nerds, yo. Like, I'm for it. Come on, Starfire. Like, it's just, and she's so gorgeous and wonderful. She models, as you can see, as well. So check her out. Let me get her. Damn, Zoom and took over my whole screen. Check out her Twitch. It is Tatted Poodle. You just go to Twitch and type in Tatted Poodle. And on IG is Tatted Poodle as well. Yeah, very dope individual. So, as you can see,
Chesticles on 10.
Oh man, yeah, check her out.
What's the link? What's the link?
There ain't no OnlyFans, so just
okay.
Put your dick back in your pants.
All right, boy. I thought I found one now.
I will let you know now. Yeah, man, very dope show today. I just want to say, like, I love that we can debate and then do some clown shit and then go in again.
Hey, this was a more debate heavy show right here.
It was.
We didn't agree on much.
No, not at all. But we already know it's gonna happen, so that's fine.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the point of conversation, to move everything forward. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for joining us. Atlanta.
Join us on Patreon. We're reviewing Atlanta. Oh,
the finger guns is it now.
I don't know why you keep threatening the audience. We're gonna be reviewing Atlanta. It's gonna be dropping every Friday when we drop. No, we drop them like Mondays. We record it on Fridays. So
yeah,
check us out. It's gonna be lit. If you never watch our reviews, it's always lit. We just finished reviewing Euphoria, which was fucking crazy. Finale was kind of underwhelming, but that's neither here nor there.
Not to me though.
We're gonna review Batman whenever Will watches it again because he just literally fell asleep.
I'm supposed to go watch it again tomorrow with Terrence. So,
well, you said that. Yeah,
we'll see if I stay awake.
We'll see how many questions Taryn asks you. Is she in the Batman?
Oh my god!
Is she in the Batman lore whatsoever?
None whatsoever.
That sounds like a fun time.
I guarantee you, less than 2 minutes into the movie, she's gonna be like, I don't understand what's going on.
That opening scene alone, when
bro, like, hey,
it's gonna be.
She's.
Y'all might want to just binge like.
She is such an amazing person.
Yes.
That is horrible at watching movies.
I believe it.
Unless it's like a basic love storyline.
The basic is.
Any layers, bro? She is lost.
Y'all might want to watch the Dark Knight trilogy first, so she can like know, because the Batman just jumps right into like Batman being Batman.
You need to know something about Batman.
You need to know anything. Oh, she's gonna
I'm gonna get pissed off. I get pissed off.
I can just see that opening scene alone. She's like, "Why is he just standing there? What's going on? Why did you just kill that man?" Like, it's gonna be terrible.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
And then she'll make a comment about like, "Is this why you always go to movies with Greg and Mike? Because you don't."
Absolutely. And then like 10 minutes in, I'm gonna be like, Are you following? Because like I really want her to enjoy it. So like I try and catch her up to where like she may have lost track. No. And I'll explain it to her. I'll explain it to her in full.
Yeah.
I still don't get it.
This movie's 3 hours long, just to remind you. It's 3 hours long. So hold it down.
3 hours of pure frustration. Or either I'm gonna go to sleep.
Please don't, man. This movie is so fucking good. Please don't. It's so fucking good. You know how long we waited for this movie? Anyway, we're gonna end this podcast. We waited for this shit so long for you to ruin this moment for us. And they just added a deleted scene on YouTube, by the way. You should watch it.
I heard about that. Yeah. Showing the Joker a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this Joker though. I don't know. You let me know. You watch it. And you let me know how you feel.
I hope it's not the real Joker. I hope it's like a little inspiration Joker.
It sounds like it's trying to be the real. The way the nigga look like it's trying to be the real Joker. So,
really?
Yeah, it's a pretty good scene though. But yeah, man, love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. See y'all next time. Check us out on Patreon.
Peace.
Shot by Will, and I'll see you next time.